So, welcome to this 37th C3. Actually, Lindworm was supposed to be doing this. That's probably one of the angels. This is the introduction, and I would like to welcome derPUPE and Mullana. Wow, drum roll, joy, overflow. My gosh, the 37th Chaos Computer Communication Congress is opening now and here its gates. You get 100 points for that. Welcome. In the name of all the team, we are the ones to welcome you, but it's also important to mention all the good creatures in the background who are helping us in the background. So it's nice to see you all here in the Hall 1, but also out there, the ones who are streaming us. So, I'm wondering, did you actually just come here because you saw that there was a door open, or did you actually come here because you wanted to come to the introduction and you were curious about what was happening here? Because there was something about a presentation and maybe you were expecting some ceremony, some frankincense maybe. But the next sentence actually says, breathe joy. And if I look at all these faces here, I can see so much joy and so much expectation that it's almost dazzling. And this joy just transports all the joy of all the people who have prepared this for this to become possible. And this is all sort of made possible by the joy of your hearts. And while we're at it, talking about hearts, I'm wearing this T-shirt. That was the substitute for the Congress in the past 3 years when we couldn't meet in person. So at this point, I would like to thank the team who made it possible to host the Congress in the past 3 years online. So thank you very much for everyone who was involved in that.
Ja, und es ist ja immer so ein Opening, weißt du, alle Leute, die schon mal hier waren, ihr wisst, was euch erwartet.
And an opening is always like, all the people who've already been here, they already know what to expect. So I'm preaching to the choir, I'm preaching to the converted who already have experienced everything. And it's just like throwing a happy pill and we're all throwing yabba dabba doo. But actually, today, this is also as an introduction for the people who are here for the first time and who are experiencing this for the first time. It's great to see you all. And please remember, this is a communication congress, so this is about communication. Talk to people. Where, if not here, are there people who understand what you actually care about, what you want to, what you enjoy talking about, and nobody will say, this is not possible right now. You will meet a lot of new people and hopefully you will talk to a lot of new people. And this is just the beginning. And next time you come back, you will know even more people and you will just make lots of new friends. And please, let's hear the applause from the people who've already been here to just certify what I've just said. But hey, Mullana, what was your first Congress like?
Well, that was at the 32nd Congress in 2015 in Hamburg too, and I heard about it in the podcast, but I didn't know anyone from the community and wasn't quite sure would I fit in. I'm kind of media student, and I just went. And fortunately, there were the Chaos Mentors, whose job it is to welcome the new people and introduce them and show them the culture. And yeah, I got a super introduction, and I was shown a lot. So are there any Chaos Mentors in the room? Please show up if you are here. Up there. Please wave. It's great that you're here. Kata, what were your first Congress like? Well, that was, I think it was 15 years ago. That was at the BCC in Berlin. And in many ways it was different. It was smaller. The party was different. And I was there with my homies from the working group against data retention, and we had an info desk under the stairs, and one brought a chain of lights from the Christmas tree and fairy lights, and they were feeling so great because we were the one people with fairy lights. Then that also has changed by now, and yes, well, data retention, telecommunications data retention has been abolished. Yay! Very nice. And when was your first Congress, PUPE? Well, it was in Berlin somewhere. I was totally flashed. I don't remember what year it was. But at the beginning, I was so nervous. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know how to behave. And I wasn't there because I was there because of net politics, not tech really. And I didn't quite know how this community works. But that is how I got to know the hacker ethic. And that was a dream of a collection of ideas, guidelines, and that was really speaking to my heart. And talking about ethics, you could say everyone that is here today will form a kind of complex system in the next few days. There's a software and a hardware, and as it is with complex systems, I wouldn't recommend that you just wildly press buttons and see what happens. You could try it this way if you have a lot of time for cleaning up. But ideally, in a complex system, you perhaps should read the documentation or the manual. And the hacker ethics, you could say, is perhaps the documentation manual for the kind of operating system that keeps things running here. But who does read manuals? Well, a difficult question, but let's test. Who of you would be able to quote the 8 items from the hacker ethics of the Chaos Computer Clubs, at least summarize them correctly? Please wave if you think you can. Well, that's very few courageous people. Okay. We can cut this out later. So we have a solution. Because if manuals are hard to read, then you add pictures of them. And because that is my area of expertise, I've prepared something for you. So these are the 8 items in the hacker ethics, all illustrated in a loose kind of order. The first item we want to show you is hackers should be judged by their hacking, not bogus criteria such as degrees, age, race, or position. And briefly, all creatures welcome. That is our mantra. When I was younger, my mother once told me how it was when she started a new job. She wanted to know something. She came into an office where no one had seen them before. She opened the door, said hello, and the guy behind the computer gave her a short glance and said, "There." My mother looked at him and was kind of having a what the fuck moment. She repeated her question and again said, "There." And again, then he was pointing towards the corner. My mother looked at that corner and there was the bin. Because my mother is a woman with a Polish accent, he apparently thought that this was the new cleaner. But she happened to be the new database administrator. Well, You could say, you should know them by their fruits or by their deeds. If you use the hacker ethics, maybe this is something to keep in your mind, people that come here for the first time, because you don't have to fit a certain role model or role image. You don't have to wear a black hoodie to belong, and you don't have to be an administrator. You don't have to be capable of typing in commands at the command line or define yourselves by the speed of your typing. And therefore spend a lot of time being nervous at the computer. It's completely normal here to not be able to do something. Because you always have to imagine what we do here is we do not define ourselves by what we know, but by the interest. Not to know something is an opportunity, and it's a sign of curiosity, because therefore use and define yourselves along those lines. What a great sentence. To not know something is not it's a drive for a curiosity. It's not a disadvantage. It's not a flaw. So, access to computers and anything which might teach you something about the way the world works should be unlimited and total. My grandmother always told me that knowledge is power. Well, there's a Polish version of that I'll spare you. But you have to say it's quite an easy kind of motto that was always correct. But in the context of progressing permeation of society with technology, this gets a completely new spin, because at the technical level you have to look at who actually has access to which kinds of systems that control our lives. If I want to understand a system in order to criticize and improve it, then I have to be able to look into it. A black box is not suited for that. So you can ask yourself, in which areas of society today are there black boxes, and where can we actually look in to improve things, to understand things, and learn from them? Free software and open source is not just a legal nitpick. This is about power at its core. It's about degrees of freedom. The question, how much freedom do we have in the societies of tomorrow if there are no more areas that are not permeated by technology? And I'm sure that when I'm old, I will probably have a digital seeing aid. And if I cannot walk, I will be very happy to have a cyborg equipment to be still able to take a walk. But I would then please be able to control this technology and not be controlled by it. And there's another aspect. You can always ask, okay, what if in this perfect society that we might at some point live in with everything being open source and free, who is then able to actually have this agency and use these freedoms in practice? So the sad freedom includes that when 2020 many schools went into lockdown, not every family, every child had a laptop to follow the remote lessons. Some families didn't have a computer at all. And this point of the hacker ethic, to me also, therefore means that please check your privileges and talk about something like solidarity.
That leads us over to the next point. Computers can change your life for the better. This is a very simple point. A lot of you have this symbiotic relationship to computers, and all of you, when you close your eyes, know one or two things where computers, ITs, bits and bytes really made your life simpler and better and helped your lives. See, I, for example, have a sensor for blood sugar. This little tiny system, these few bits and bytes, and that improvement of the quality of life that has brought to me, it always tells me my blood sugar levels and has substantially made my life more livable. Thank you so much to everybody who contributed to this. Things like this we need to have open source so that everybody can use this freely. Which leads us over to yet again another point. All information should be free. Yes, so that's sort of a no-brainer. Every information should be free. While at the same time, you sort of have to remember the nuances in the background, as long as it's not personal data. If it's anything that's person-related data, it should be free. And it's a no-brainer, and we don't really need to talk or think about it too much. Everybody who knows that we have something like Ask the State, which is a German website where you can make use of your Freedom of Information Act that we have here in Germany and ask things to the state, and makes this rather simply. The people from CCC in the 80s actually knew that already, and this is one of the things that they added to the hacker ethics. Use public data, protect private data. When I was a little child, I had this littering phase with regards to furniture and things like that. So there's like lots of interesting things that you can find there, like, you know, at these like littering grounds where you can drop your recycling. There were quite interesting, cool places where you can go and scavenge through them as children. So one day I came home in the city that I grew up in, and I came past the train station. There was this gigantic pile of technical things. So I approached it with caution, and there was some paper, large pile of paper. So I curiously took a piece of those sheets, so like a folder, and I opened it and looked into it. And I'm reading, and I'm reading. And I realized quite quickly that what I have here is a patient folder, a medical personal folder of someone. That was obviously the resolution of a doctor's office, and all diagnoses were in that folder, the birth date, and based on the dates that were in there, a lot of people are probably still alive that were in that pile of piece of paper. I was a child, I couldn't really make much sense of it, but I did know at that point that this cannot be right. This cannot be how we put out or get rid of data like that. So if you have a little bit of technical understanding, every day is litter day. And the question is, what do I do when I find things like that? Do I go and dig into it? Do I try to use it and utilize it in some sort of way? Do I ask myself, what would I do in that situation? What would be the ethical thing to do? And I believe that curiosity is first of all, very healthy to have, and it's very important. Without curiosity, none of us would be here. We would not be the community that we are. And it's something that's absolutely brilliant. But at the same time, when we reach moments like that, our curiosity needs to be constrained when the private life of a person is being breached or invaded. This aspect of free data that's lying around readily available was the second add-on from the CCC to the hacker ethics. Don't mess around in other people's data. Don't litter in other people's data. And this point seems to be like it's fallen out of time a little bit, but at the same time, couldn't we read this as show respect to each other and have respect for one another? And not everybody knows technically as much as we all do. And when we do find data lying around, we shouldn't abuse our findings, but rather deal with it responsibly and responsibly disclose when we find things like that. It's very simple. Who doesn't know the sentence, what you do not like to be done to yourself, do not do to others? It's a very simple guiding principle.
Das ist wie Nächstenliebe.
It's a
Ich würde
bit
jetzt sagen,
like
digitale Nächstenliebe. Und an
digital
der Stelle, ja, ein wichtiger Punkt, den
love
wir
of the
alle
next
in
kind.
unserem Handeln mit einpreisen sollten.
Love thy neighbor.
Misstraue Autoritäten.
Mistrust authorities. Promote decentralization. Once upon a time, there was a social network that I liked to frequent. It played a rather large role in the politics, in diverse set of protests against data retention or net limitation, and then there was the evil billionaire who bought it, and since then it has been turned into a gross and disgusting
Ich glaube, wir
swamp.
wissen alle, von denen ich spreche.
I think we all know who I'm
Und ich
talking
finde, das
about. I
Beispiel
don't even need
zeigt
to
ja, wir
mention the
können
name.
uns- wir dürfen
The
uns nicht darauf
example
verlassen, dass
really
Staat
shows
oder
that we
Wirtschaft
cannot
die Probleme,
rely
die
on
wir so
state and
haben,
economy
für uns lösen.
to
Und ich
solve the
glaube, es
problems
ist auch
for
keine
us.
gute
And I
Idee,
believe
darauf
it's
zu
not a
warten,
very
bis
good
sich für
idea
alle
to
Probleme ein
wait
passendes Geschäftsmodell
if we
findet.
can find a good business model for
Ich
all
glaube
problems
nicht,
that we
dass
have.
alles ein
I don't
Geschäftsmodell
believe that everything
sein
should be a
sollte.
business model.
Eine Frage.
One question.
Eine Frage. Wer von euch ist bei einem
One
dezentralen
question.
sozialen Netzwerk auf Basis freier Software?
Who of you is signed up to a
Alle Hände hoch.
decentralized network?
Nicht
Okay,
schlecht.
quite a few people. Not bad.
Ja, und ich finde, das, was ihr hier gesehen habt, ne? Also
What
ihr
you've
habt
seen
nach rechts,
here,
nach links geguckt,
if
ihr
I
könnt
look
den Leuten hier
around,
in die Augen schauen. Hier kommen Leute zusammen, die nicht nur ähnlich denken.
this is where
nicht nur
people
ein
come
ähnliches
together who
Mindset
don't
haben,
have,
sondern
who don't only
hier
have a
kommen
similar
Leute
mindset,
zusammen,
but this
die
is where people
danach
come together
handeln.
who also act
Und
according to
ich
that.
finde es unglaublich stark, dass wir in dieser Community eben nicht nur sagen, oh, das ist schlimm und
And I think it's great that we're not only
irgendjemand sollte
whinging
mal
how
etwas
bad
tun,
everything
TF.
is, but
sondern dass wir sagen,
we
naja,
are
wenn keiner was macht, müssen wir die Utopie, in der wir zukünftig leben
we're
wollen,
saying if nobody else does anything about it, we will have to create the utopia that we want to live in ourselves.
Ja, und wo wir bei Dezentralität sind,
Why
ich
we're
finde,
at
wie dieser ganze
decentralization,
Kongress
I think
hier
the whole
aufgebaut ist,
Congress
das ist ja
here,
sozusagen gelebte Dezentralität aufs
this is
Extreme. Also
decentralization
alles
put into
Sachen
practice
selbst organisiert.
because
Das ist
we're
einfach mal unglaublich,
organizing
wie die
everything
Teams sich hier
ourselves. It's
selber
incredible
finden
how
und
the
keiner
teams
von
are
oben
just
sagt, ihr müsst es aber so
finding
und so machen,
themselves and
sondern es ist hier einfach selbst organisiert
how
und so entsteht auch
self-organized
hier
this
dieses
is, and
gemeinsame Abenteuer.
that's how this
Raumschiff.
adventure comes about.
Denn eine Sache, was wir hier eigentlich machen, ist wirklich so gelebte Agilität, würde man im Business-Sprech machen.
We would
Weil wir
actually,
einfach
if this was
alles-
business
Sorry, ich
speak,
hab's
we would
gebracht.
say we were putting agility into practice.
Weil hier habe ich das schon lernen können, noch bevor das in irgendwelchen Konzernen irgendwie mal versucht wurde. Hier konnte man es atmen und es ist
This
deshalb
is
so
the
toll,
place where
mit
you can
euch
actually
sowas hier alles
experience that
gemeinsam,
kind of
ja, auf Augenhöhe
thing,
zu machen.
and it's great to do everything at eye level with each other. We're all equal here.
Ja, und man muss sagen, es gibt ja noch einen weiteren Punkt der Hack-Ethik.
Oh, actually, well, there's another point
Das,
about
was
the hacker's
Mullana hier
ethic.
macht, ja,
And what
das
Mullana
ist auch
does here, that's also part of the ethics.
Und zwar, du kannst mit einem Computer Kunst und Schönheit erschaffen.
And that is that you can actually create
In unserer
art and beauty on a
Kunstcommunity werden
computer.
echt viele super coole Sachen gemacht. Blinkenlines ganz oben ist zum Beispiel ein Kunstprojekt, das Anfang der 2000er
So,
Jahre
for example,
im
there
CCC zu recht viel
are art
Bekanntheit,
projects like
gewonnen hat.
this one that was
Was das
formed in the
Backstream
early
alle 2 Jahre
2000s.
macht, das ist echt der Hammer.
It's great.
Wir haben einen eigenen Chor.
We have our own
Die
choir.
Einhorndichte hier ist super hoch. Und das ist total faszinierend, weil man alles mit alten Bahnanzeigetafeln, leeren Matekästen oder Ähnlichem
It's
machen kann.
fascinating what you can do with all kinds of
Ja.
objects.
Denn also ich habe ja da auch wirklich 2 Herzen in der Brust und dass hier langsam so Art und Beauty
I'm in
mit
two
dem anderen
minds
alles
about
so
this.
zusammenwächst, ist für mich einfach eine Freude, weil es natürlich
There are so
meinem
many
Naturell
things
sehr
coming
entgegenkommt.
together.
Darum, Mullana, erstmal herzlichen
So,
Dank.
thank you
Ich
so
sehe,
much,
wir hatten
Mullana.
vorhin diese Kathedralen von diesen
We had those
Hochpriesterinnen, welche auf
cathedrals
die Bühne
of
gehen.
those high
Wann gibt's denn jetzt das
priestesses.
hier so als
So,
Kirchenkathedralenfenster,
when
damit wir auch irgendwie, ja, ich sag mal, so ein
are we
Gebäude haben, wo wir zur
going to see this in a cathedral?
auch entsprechend irgendwie pilgern können.
So we can
Gehört,
pilgrim,
es gäbe da in
make a
einigen
pilgrimage
Regionen
there.
Deutschlands Kirchen günstig zu kaufen.
Well, maybe it will be for sale soon.
Aber no pressure.
Also-
Ich denke, wir haben eine gemeinsame Vision.
I think we have a vision in
erstmal ist es ja noch
common.
im Alpha-Stadium, diese Zeichnungen hier. Ich eröffne hiermit
Well,
ein
these drawings are
Gespräch
still in the Alpha
Lass
Stadium.
uns gemeinsam an diesen Bildern weiterarbeiten.
But
und die
let's
Hacke
continue
geben
working
können.
on these
das heißt, wenn ihr
together.
mir auf dem Kongress irgendwo begegnet, erzählt mir gern, was unbedingt
So
noch
if
in
I
den
bump
letzten
into you
Punkten der Kunst
during the
rein muss für das
Congress,
Projekt.
please let's
Erzählt mir,
talk
wie,
about this project. If you have any ideas, if you want to
Computer euer Leben zum
contribute,
Besseren verändern
and
oder
if
was
you
weiß
want to
ich.
tell me how computers improve your life, I'm happy to hear about it.
Ja, und damit muss ich sagen, die Nachhilfestunde ist jetzt, kommt jetzt langsam Richtung Ende. Ich hoffe, ihr habt alle etwas mitgenommen.
So this little
wir sind noch
tutoring
nicht am
session
Ende,
is
denn,
coming to an
das war
end.
sozusagen das Betriebssystem
This
und der
was
Softwareteil.
the software
Wir haben dann
part.
aber auch noch eine Hardware.
We also
Und,
have a hardware
im Rahmen
part.
einer fundierten Langzeituntersuchung mit Tausenden
So,
mehr oder minder freiwilligen Teilnehmenden
ah,
haben wir eine
so we did a long-term study,
Formel erarbeitet,
and
wie
we
ihr eure
have
Hardware hier möglichst lange am Laufen halten.
found a formula
Formel lautet
to
6,
how you
2,
can
1.
get going
Das
for a long
bedeutet
time. It's
6 Stunden
6-2-1,
Schlaf,
6 hours of
2
sleep,
Mahlzeiten,
2 meals,
eine
and
Dusche.
1 shower.
Und zwar nicht über den kompletten Kongress
And that's
verteilt.
not during the whole Congress, but it's
Wie
actually
geht's am Ende?
every day.
Ihr ahnt schon, bitte einmal am Tag das Ganze wiederholen.
Please do it once a
ach
day,
ja, und
not
wascht mal schön eure
only
Hände.
once during the Congress. And
Ja,
please
Hände
wash your
waschen ist auch eine gute
hands.
Idee, weil
That's
da
also a
war
good
ja
idea because there
irgendwie
was
was mit so einer
something
Pandemie.
about a
Und,
pandemic
von daher
there.
gilt auch hier das Prinzip
And so
Mitdenken
maybe
und Rücksicht.
please
Es gibt hier
be
Menschen, die tragen
careful.
eine Maske und wir empfehlen
Some
das
people wear a
wirklich,
mask,
testet euch
and we
präventiv. Es
would
gibt hier auch am
recommend strongly
Eingangsbereich
that you test
eine
yourselves.
Teststation, da
There's
könnt
also
ihr
a
euch
testing
kostenlosen
station at
Test
the
holen.
entrance,
Und
so
wenn
you
ihr
can
euch
get a free
krank
test
fühlt,
there.
testet
And
euch
obviously,
und
if you
kommt am
feel
besten dann
sick,
vielleicht erst
please
mal
test
nicht
yourselves
ins
and
Kongress, bevor
maybe
ihr
don't
wisst,
even come
was
here,
ihr euch eingefangen habt.
because you
Und
want to know
bei
what you
Fragen
have before coming
medizinischer
here.
Art könnt
If
ihr
you have
euch
any
gerne
medical
ans Pferd
questions, you
wenden
can
und die Engel
go to
dort
the
werden
set, and
euch
there are some angels there who can
weiterhelfen.
help you.
Ja, und wo wir gerade bei Engeln sind, man
While
muss sich
we're
ja mal
at it,
vorstellen, diese
angels,
freiwilligen Helferinnen, das sind
those
Menschen,
volunteers,
die
they're
haben sich ein
people
Ticket
who
gekauft,
got a
um auf
ticket,
so einen Kongress zu
paid for a
gehen
ticket to
und dann
come
auch
to a
noch
congress like
freiwillig
this,
arbeiten.
and then they
Also
voluntarily
das ist ja
help
eigentlich so, völlig
by working
skurril.
here.
Als
It's
Veranstalter
really
ideal, muss man sagen.
strange.
Ja, und das ist ja eben auch nicht nur jetzt irgendwie während dieser wilden 5 Tage, die wir haben, sondern im Vorfeld, auch im Nachgang. Und ja, das ist eigentlich diese
So, and
ganze
that's not
Arbeit
just
ist
for these
natürlich
5
ein
days, but
Träumchen.
before and after,
Weil
and
so,
that's
warum
what
machen
makes
die
this
das?
whole thing a
Weil wir
kind of
alle
dream.
gemeinsam hier an
And
diesem
why
Traum
we do
arbeiten,
what we
weil
do
sich
is
jeder
because
hier
we all
entsprechend
are
einbringen
working
kann.
on that
Und das
dream
ist
because we
einfach,
can all get
ja, wie
involved,
gesagt, ein
and
gelebtes Träumchen.
that is,
Und,
as
wir
we said, a
patchen uns hier die
dream
Welt, wie wir es
put into
gerne
life, and we are
Und an
shaping the
der
world as we
Stelle,
would like to have it. And
ja,
at
lass
this
das besser mal
stage,
nicht die Wirtschaft
please
beeinflussen,
let's not have
dieses Muster,
let's
wenn man
not
sagen
have
kann,
the
Purpose.
business
Weil
hear this,
wir
but let's
haben
say
hier
we have a purpose.
Wenn
We
die
do
lernen,
have a
dass man
purpose.
mit Purpose Leute auch
Because
zu
they learn
arbeiten
how
hochführen kann.
they can
Ja,
use
weiter.
purpose to manipulate people into work. And I have resolved to always try a new kind of angel shift every Congress. There's so many kinds of things that you can do if you've registered as an angel. So you can have the entrance checks, or you can have all these various operation centers, and there are some where you need to be introduced into.
Probiert's aus.
I'll try
Ja,
them
ihr
out.
kriegt auch noch so eine
And
geile
yeah,
Badge.
you get these great
Ja, und
badges
dann
too.
ist ja die Sache auch,
And,
ich sollte das eigentlich jetzt zeigen.
I would show you this now. The embarrassing thing about these badges is,
als ich das erste
when I
Mal damals Engel war,
became an angel for the first time, I felt like I had a VIP pass to a festival, because I was always leaving it hanging out, and I said, okay, I'm getting involved, great, I'm going to be shaping this. But yes, I think this This is a great feeling, so use this opportunity, register as an angel and help out, because if you go back home and then are able to say, wow, this was our Congress and I contributed this tiny bit, isn't that so much better feeling, because you then are the organizer. Great. Okay, I have another one. At this point, since we're talking about altruism and things like that, I would really very much like to thank those present that when they chose their ticket, consciously said, we are going to use a supporter ticket, we're going to pay some extra to enable others who are not so well off to take part and put this on a larger footing. And that is a very just maybe a form of redistribution. Well, you have to start somewhere at least. So you showed your solidarity. Thank you. And apart from that, very importantly, this whole thing regarding videos and photos, and the rule is very simple. Unless you are able to ask everyone who would appear on a video and photo beforehand, if they are happy with appearing on this photo, then please do not take that video or photo in the first place. Asking is free. You can ask, can I take a photo of this device here, please? That could be a start to a beautiful conversation, actually, about a device, about an installation of art. So push yourselves to asking and keep yourselves from using that smartphone, perhaps. Leave it in your pocket. And let me call them service announcements. The first one is simply within the CCH, this area, smoking is prohibited. And that's not because we say smoking is evil or smoking is good. It's about insurance aspects, fire security. Everyone who wants to smoke, you're welcome to do this outside. We have the terraces, we have these designated areas. So please keep that in mind. We do not want, as organizers, to be held responsible for a situation where we cannot return, because we love Hamburg too much. And this also applies to vapes, let me add, please. Another service announcement. We had one important item when we talked about what do we want to judge people by. And it explicitly said, do not judge them by their origins. And that means we are from an intergalactic community. We are, so to say, part of a whole large, and we do not want to see flags of individual nation states, please. I'm so happy that we as a community have been able to get together again, because if I look outside of our beautiful, colorful spaceship, then I'm seeing so many things that could be patched and should be patched. And sadly, it has to be said, the state of the world is not good. The world is burning. The climate crisis is advancing. So many countries are taken over by right-wing ideologies. And what we all need in here is a bit of hope and a space where we can get the hope and the strength to work against that. It's not about having fun at the device. It's about how we use technology to create a better world for others, our utopia. Yeah.
Viel Spaß auf dem Kongress.
Have fun at the Congress and happy hacking.
Und lasst uns diese gemeinsame Utopie
let
zusammenleben.
us
jetzt in diesen Tagen
now
hier
and in these
gestalten,
days,
hier
shape this
genießen,
utopia, this shared
mitnehmen
ideal,
und tragt es
and
dann nach
take
in
it
die
with
Welt.
you and get
Das
it
ist
out
ganz
into the
wichtig.
world. That is very important.
Ich würde sagen,
I would
der
say
37
the
C3
32nd
ist hiermit
C3 is
offiziell
hereby
eröffnet.
officially opened,
Achievement unlocked.
achievement unlocked.